Good morning, everyone. Welcome to your English Literature live class. So today we are going to read chapter number 10, which is given on page number 87 in your textbooks. And it is a poem, When I Am an Old Lady. So this poem, When I Am an Old Lady, it is written by an American poetess, Joanne Bailey Baxter. Right? So if you look at the title of the poem, When I Am an Old Lady, so it suggests that the poetess is going to talk about her future, okay? About whatever she is going to do, what all experience she's going to have in future, because it is saying when I am an old lady. That means she is not old yet, she is not in that age, fine, but she is talking, she is predicting, okay, what all things she is going to do when she will get old, fine. So I will tell you a brief summary or introduction of the poem. Here the poetess is a mother of some children, and she has been through a good experience of motherhood, which includes everything. Okay, when a child is born, when a child comes to, in a family, he or she brings a lot of happiness in the family, in the house. Okay, the house becomes very, the atmosphere is very light and joyous and full of merriments. Okay, and cheerfulness, all such things are there around. Positivity is there. Children, what do they bring along with them? Positivity. Because whatever they do, no matter how much mischievous they are, no matter how much naughty they are, at the end of the day, they are, the adjective which is associated with small children, innocence. Okay, innocent. They are innocent. Okay, so this is the basic feature of all the children, that they are innocent. So whatever they do not do anything intentionally. They just do it out of mischievousness that is there in their nature, fine. So whatever they do, yes, it might it can get on your nerve. You can become angry, you can at times feel irritated when children, they do such kind of stuff, like when you are there and there's a small child of say 2 to 3 years of age, and you are trying to be friendly with that child. And especially girls, when they play with the children, what do they do? They sometimes they tangle their finger in your hair. So that thing is irritating, isn't it? Yes, but you cannot do anything. You can't help it. You cannot fight with a child. That is cute ultimately. So there are some activities which of children, which can, at times make us irritated. But what is the basic thing? What is the bottom line? The bottom line is that the feelings which is associated with children is that of compassion, is that of love, is that of tenderness. So mothers also, they are mothers, basically they spend most of the time, or the most of the time which a child spends with his or her parent, is that with his or her mother. So the mother is in contact with her children, with her child, so she experiences everything, fine. So here the poet is also, as a mother, she is recalling all the activities, all her experiences, good and bad, with the child, with her children. And she thinks that it was and it is obvious that being a mother is not an easy job. Okay, it is a job which is full of responsibility. It is a job which requires a lot of endurance and patience, to deal with the children, to deal with the kids. Okay, to have compassion, to take care of the kids. So that is the thing. And she has gone through all such experiences. Now she says that now, when her children will be adult, when they will grow old, and she will grow old in age, so what she'll do is that she will go and live with each of her children, and she would make them realize that it was not easy job for her to raise them. Okay, and she wants them to understand this and to agree with her. Okay, that is the sole motive of her to write this poem, to do all such. She is not going to take revenge. It is not she is not vindictive, because parents can never be vindictive. She just wants to her children to realize, and her children she wants her children to admit to her, to their mothers, that yes, it was not easy, it was a really tough job, but she did it with such precision. Okay, because all the mothers, they take care of all our mothers, they take care of us. Okay, and in every manner, in every possible way. So they, that thing is quite huge, which we cannot even imagine and cannot understand. So she will be living with them, she will be trying, she will try to do all such activities, she will try to recreate their childhood and do all those activities which her children did in their childhood. Okay, and so when you will read it from her point of view, you will find it very humorous. It is written in a humorous tone, that is in a funny tone, in an amusing manner, that the readers will feel, you know, joy in reading this one. Fine. So this was about the introduction. What is this poem based upon? So this is the content of this poem, and three themes you will find embedded in this poem. What are the three themes? I want all of you to note down. First is parenthood and childhood. Okay. Second is nature of children, and the third is the dependency of family relation. Fine. So you will get an idea of these three themes in this poem as you read. Parenthood and childhood. Why? Because the poem has been written from the perspective of a mother. Okay. So motherhood, how she had, what experiences she had as a mother, and what all things her children used to do in their childhood. So motherhood and childhood, two things have been compared, or two things have been discussed in this poem. Second is nature of children. Okay, the children, what kind of nature do they possess? They are naughty, mischievous, at the same time, they are innocent, very innocent, unaware of harm, unaware of what is harmful for them and what is beneficial for them. Okay, they are so much dependent on their parents for each and everything. Although they annoy their parents at times, but then motherhood or parenthood is a thing which is full, is an age or is a phase which is full of compassion, which is full of love, which is full of tenderness, as I have already told you. Okay, the last one is the dependency of family relation. You know, family is an institution, okay, where all of us live, and we all are dependent on each other in some way or the other. When you all were small kids, you could not take care of yourselves. Okay, who took care of you? Your parents. Okay, so at that time, you were dependent on your parents for each and every small thing. Okay, so now now when you know, the time when your parents will grow old, it will happen with each one of us. It happens with each one of us, that when you will grow old, or when your parents will grow old and you will become adult, you will become into that, you will come to in that position to take care of someone, okay, who is dependent on you. So that then the roles get reversed. Okay, then the tables they turn. Now then you will be playing the role of a parent. You will not only take care of your own children, but at the same time you will be taking care of your parents also, because old age is second childhood. Okay, the only difference is that in old age people have a lot of experience in and the childhood is without any experience. Okay, in old age weakness is there, energy is not there, whereas in the childhood is full of vigor and energy. Fine. So this is the basic difference. But you know, when we talk in terms of dependency, then childhood is, you know, just same as old age, because old people also cannot take care of their own of themselves on their own. They need, you know, they are physically and mentally and emotionally dependent on their children to take care of them, because they become so weak, they become so frail, that they require you to for their small basic needs also. Fine. So these are the three themes which I hope you people have noted down, and you have written some of the other lines. Okay, a little bit explanation based on these themes, because questions can be asked from here. So I want all of you to make a note of all these things. So I hope the theme, the title, and the summary is clear to everyone. Have you people got an idea? So shall we begin with the poem now? All right. Fine. You may raise your hands to read. Yes, Divyanshi, you can start reading.
The poem When I'm an Old Lady is written by Bailey Baxter, who belongs to Ohio, United States. She wrote this poem for her kids many years ago to convey in a humorous way the trials and tribulations of being a parent. He's not a vindictive at all. He just wants his adult children to realize that raising them was not a piece of cake. And now they can experience what she went through as they take care of her. The tone of the poem is delightfully mysterious as the woman plans ways she will get back at her kids.
Yes. So, as I have already told you in the introduction of the poem, that uh, this is written from the perspective of a mother. Okay. So, the poet's name is Joanne Bailey Baxter. What do we know about the poetess is that she belonged to Ohio, which is in United States. And why did she write this poem? She wrote this poem for her kids, for her own kids many years ago. And what was the sole motive behind her writing this poem was that she just wanted to make her children realize, to make her children understand that being a mother is not, being a parent is not a cakewalk. Okay, it is not a piece of cake, means it is not an easy job. You can just underline this, a piece of cake, and write down an easy task. So it is not an easy task to raise kids, to raise children, right? Because you go through various trials and tribulations. Trials and tribulations refer to those troubles that test your patience, that test your endurance. So underline trials and tribulations and write down troubles that test one's endurance, that how much uh, you can endure, how much patient you are. Fine. So it is those kinds of trouble. Okay, that you have to deal with it, and there's no escape from such things. You cannot escape from raising your child. Yes, so you have to go do that. But this poem, although the meaning is deep, fine, but the poetess has written it in such a humorous way that you will find it funny. Okay, but then the themes, if you focus upon the three themes which I have told you, that hold some or the other meaning in real life. Okay, Aryan, keep your video on, otherwise you'll be put into the waiting room. Aryan Nath. So this is the thing, she has written it in a humorous manner. So humorous, you can underline and write down funny and amusing. And then it is being said that she is not being vindictive. Vindictive means revengeful. So being revengeful for a mother is completely out of the picture. A parent can never be revengeful, isn't it? So it is like, sometimes when your parents do something just to teach you a lesson, just to make you understand something, because there are something which we understand when that thing comes into practice, when we practically experience. So that is also a way of understanding few things. Okay, so she is going to depict it practically, so that if she will just say, or by saying, if she will try to if she will try to explain to her children that no, it was very tough for me to raise you people up, it would be better that if she show them, if she practically brings all what she wants to explain. Okay, so if she brings all those things into practice, then it will be easier for her to make them realize, and to make them understand, and it will be easier for her children to realize that yes, her mother is right, and it is truly not an easy task to raise a child, to raise children for that matter. Fine. And the tone of the poem is delightfully mischievous. So underline this, that the tone is mischievous. It is written in a positive way. So we should not misunderstand it to be written in a negative tone, to show that a mother is taking revenge on her children. So that is not the case over here. She just wants to maybe teach a lesson, or she wants to, we would not say to teach a lesson, but she just wants to make them realize and to admit to her that yes, it was a tough job. It is a tough job to be a mother. Okay. So we'll start with the first stanza. Yes. Anyone who wants to read, Mires? Yes, Vartul.
When I'm an old lady, I live with each kid and
You have muted yourself, Vartul.
no, ma'am, I am unmuted.
Yes. When I'm an old lady, read again.
When I'm an old lady, I live with each kid and bring so much happiness just as they did. I want to pay back all the joy they have provided, returning each deed. Oh, they will be so excited. When I'm an old lady and live with my kids.
Yes. So as you see, this lady has started this poem with the poetess has started the poem with this line: "When I'm an old lady, I will live with each kid." So underline this: I live with each kid. What does this mean? That why will she be living with each one of her kids? Because see, when a mother when a person is a mother of one child, so she goes through motherhood once. When she is the mother of two children, she goes through the same experience twice, isn't it? So while raising her children, she has gone through the same experience of motherhood multiple times. So she wants each one of them to realize she will not live just, she's not going to live with just one kid and her job is over. No, she does not want that. All her children will be living separately, so she will be living with each one of them separately, and she will be doing all those activities, all the deeds separately, and she will make them experience all such things separately. Okay, so that is the reason why she wants to live with each kid. Okay, not just one, but with each one of them, because she also has gone through the same kind of experience multiple times. It's not that when a mother raises a child, then her job is done. It's not like that. If she is blessed with another child, then she goes through the same experience again. It's not that she's not going to look after the second child. She goes through the same thing. Okay, but with the same energy, with the same level of patience, with the same happiness. Fine, there is no difference, quantitative or qualitative difference in the role of a motherhood, even if she's a mother of one child or she's a mother of two children. Fine, so that is the thing. You will never find an ounce of difference in the quality and quantity of love she gives. Okay, she provides to each one of her children. So that is why she wants to live with each one of her kids, so that all of them realize, all of them get an idea of what she has gone through while raising them up. And then in the next line, and bring so much happiness just as they did. Now, as we proceed and we read the poem, we will find out the different activities, and all those activities will be annoying in nature. Okay, so but she is writing it as a mother. So she is saying in the next line that all her children, when they were born, when they came to to her life, all of them brought what? Nothing but happiness to her. Okay, so she is saying that I will live with each one of my kids, and I will bring a lot of happiness in their life, like they did when they came to my house. Okay, so whatever she is saying, she will be doing indirectly. She is also giving the readers an idea that what her children did to her. Okay, so when she will grow old, she will live with every kid, and she will bring happiness. So that means indirectly, what can we assume, or what can we analyze from these two lines, that when she was young, and then children when her children uh, took birth and they came to her life, they also brought a lot of happiness to her life, because she has said over here, just as they did. I want to pay back all the joy they have provided. That means her children have provided a lot of joy to her, they brought a lot of pleasure to her life. Fine. So she just wants to pay back. She just wants to return all those things. Returning each deed. Each deed means here all the impish activities, all the mischievous deeds of her children, which they used to do in their childhood. She wants to return each one of them to her children, and she assumes that her children will be will be so excited to see her doing all those activities. Like she used to be excited when her children used to do different stuffs. Okay, so when I'm an old lady and live with my kids, again, you can now underline this line and write down the refrain. Okay, so refrain, this line you will see repeated after every stanza, just in order to bring to lay emphasis on, to lay focus on the idea of the poem. Okay, because this is the basic idea that that the poetess is talking about, what all she's going to do when she will grow old and she will be living with her kids. So this is nothing but a refrain. You already are familiar with the idea of refrain. It is a poetic device which you already know that has been used in the poem where? The brook. Okay, so another example of refrain you find in this poem. Fine. So the first is, in the first stanza, she is introducing what all things she is planning to do, and from the next stanza, she is going to list down the different activities which she will be doing in order to make her children realize that what all they used to do in their childhood. Okay, she just wants to recreate their childhood memories. Okay, Arav, next stanza.
I'll write on the walls with reds, whites, and blues, and bounce on the furniture wearing my shoes. I'll drink from the carton and then leave it out. I'll stuff all the toilets, and oh, how they'll shout when I'm an old lady and live with my kids.
Okay, so now from here, from this stanza, you can see, and you can also number the activities, because she has started listing down the activities which she'll be doing. So she'll write on the walls with red, whites, and blues. That means red, white, and blues, underline and write down with different colors of crayons. Okay. So this is the most common activities which is found in the among the children of small age, like say 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So toddlers, you can say. So the toddlers, what do? If they find a pen or a pencil or crayons, what do? They just start scribbling on the walls. Okay, they destroy all the walls, all the paint. So that is the thing which is the most common among children of that young age. So she will also do the same thing. She'll also take the crayons and she will write on the walls. Next thing is that she will bounce on the furniture. She will jump on the furniture with her shoes on. Okay, she will not take off her shoes. She will get on the chair. She'll get on the furniture, on the sofa, on the couch, on the bed, and she will start jumping with the shoes on, like the kids used to do. Okay, they what do they do when they come home from when they go outside and then return to home? What do? Small children who are unaware that it is not hygienic to get on the furniture with the shoes on, they have to get off their shoes. So if you know the mothers get busy in doing some other thing, what do? They do not take their shoes off. They just get on the bed with their shoes, wearing their shoes, and they start jumping and playing. So that is the same thing which she will be doing. Okay, when she will go to live with her children. Then I'll drink from the carton and leave it out means she will take out the carton of juice, maybe, Tetra packs which you have these days. So she will take out the carton from the refrigerator and then she will drink from it and leave it here and there. If she finishes the juice, then she will not put into the dustbin. If the juice is left, then again she will not put it back into the refrigerator. She'll just drink, she'll do her work, and then she will throw here and there. Okay, she will not bother about putting that thing back into its correct place or correct position. Okay, and then the next thing what she'll do is that she'll stuff all the toilets. Okay, so the kids, this is again a common activity among the kids, that what do? They take all their toys and they stuff the toilet with those toys. Okay, and they put their toys in the wash basin also, in the sinks also, and in the toilets also. So she's also do the same thing. She naturally won't be having the toys, but she will take all the things whatever she will find and she will put them into the toilet seat, and she will stuff the toilet. Okay, and then on seeing her doing all such activities, what will be the reaction of her children? They'll start shouting. Like parents also, they start shouting, no, that when you do the things which you're not supposed to do, so they shout. That is the natural reaction of your parents. So similarly, she's also expecting her children to shout. So when they will see her doing all such activities, then again she has repeated this line, that she has reiterated this line to lay emphasis and to keep the idea of the poem intact. that she will be doing all these things that when she will grow old and when she will live with her kids. Okay, next stanza. Yes, Shreya, you want to read? Unmute yourself, child.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
When they are on the phone and just out of reach, I'll get into things like sugar and bleach. Oh, they'll snap their fingers and then shake their head. And when that is done, I'll hide under the bed. When I'm an old lady, I'll live with my kids.
Okay, so the next thing is that when they over here, underline they, and they over here refers to her children. Okay, so who will be there on the phone? Her children. When they will be there on the phone, they will be busy over the phone call, talking to their friends, or maybe official phone calls, but they will be busy. Okay, they will not have focus on their mother. So just out of reach means she will not be visible by her. She will out of reach of her children. So she will get into the kitchen. She will bring the sugar, and she will go to the washroom. She will bring the bleach powder from there. You know what is a bleach? Bleach is a chemical which is used for cleaning purpose. Fine. So she will get the bleach. She will get the sugar. She will spill it over the floor, all over the floor, mix them. Okay. She will also cover herself, in sugar and bleach. So that is what she will do. She will just create a nuisance with all these things, right? And when the children will come, when her children will come back, will be adults then. So they will snap their fingers and shake their head. Underline, this line shows their annoyance. Okay, these two acts of the children show their annoyance. Okay, so all such activities which she is describing, which she is depicting over here, all are full of annoyance. Fine. So that also, this again will annoy because this will increase their load. They will have to clean all the things. Fine. So what they do, this will not make them happy. Okay. So they will snap their finger, click their fingers, and shake their head not to do that. And when that is done, means when she will see that they are losing their head, they are losing their calm, they are becoming more angry. What she'll do, she'll escape from there, and she'll find refuge under the bed. Okay, she'll hide under the bed. So that also children do mostly, very commonly, that when they see that their parents, they have done such activity which will make their parents angry. What do? They just quickly escape, just as they want to escape from their parents' wrath. What do? They just go and hide somewhere, maybe behind the door, behind the curtains, behind grandparents. Okay, so whomsoever they find, they will be safe with. So they do this. Okay, they find a safe place from where they could escape the anger of their parents. Yes, Akshita, read the next stanza.
When they cook dinner and call me to eat, I will not eat my green beans or salad or meat. I will gag on my okra, spill milk on the table, and when they get angry, I will run if I am able. When I am old lady and live with my kids.
Yes. So now here in this stanza, she is talking about the activities, or the behavior of children at the table. Okay, at the dining table, when they are called to eat, what do they do? Not only small children, this is common among the children of every age. Even now, you people, I don't believe if you say that you eat everything whatever your mothers provide. Okay, you still throw tantrums at the dining table when you are called to eat. So what do you think? What do you people prefer? You people mostly prefer fast food, junk food. Okay, pizzas are better than spinach, tastier than spinach, naturally. So the same thing she will be doing, that when her children would cook dinner and they would call her to eat, she will not eat all the nutritious and healthy things which she will be provided with. Okay, so underline green beans, salad, or meat. She has taken instances of these three food items. So why only these three? Because she wants to show that she will not be eating anything nutritious. Okay, she will not be ready to eat anything healthy or nutritious, which will be provided to her by her children. So she'll not eat all these things. She'll gag on her okra. Okay, okra is lady's finger. So when she will be provided okra, she will act as if she is about to throw up, as if she is about to vomit. She is unable to gulp the okra. Okay, so she will gag on it. She will show that she is choking on that food item so that she does not get to eat. And she will spill the milk on the table intentionally. She will just do something or the other just to escape from eating nutritious and healthy food items. Okay, she'll also not drink milk. So nowadays also, when you people must be, I don't think a lot of you will be fond of drinking milk or plain milk for that matter, because you need to add some chocolate powder or other things to make it tastier, isn't it? Plain milk is not the first thing we go to. I mean, at least I don't like to drink plain milk. So I don't know how many of you connect with me. So they do this thing. She will do this thing. All right, she will also do this thing, and when she'll do all such stuff, she will irritate them. So naturally, they will again get angry, and she will try to run. But now she says, "I'll run," and then she says, "If I am able." So by this phrase, by this clause, we come to know that now she understands that she will, although she has listed down such activities which for which one needs to have a lot of energy. Okay, so but now she realizes that she will not have all that kind of energy because she will be old. Eventually she will be in her old age. Okay, and she will not have that strength, she will not have that stamina, she will not have she will grow weak, and she will grow in, her legs will grow infirm, she will not have that capacity of running, same similar to that of the of children, isn't it? So that is why she has used "if I am able." So if it is asked why has the poetess used this clause "if I am able," so you have to write that when she will grow old, she will not be as energetic as children. Okay, she will grow weak, she will grow infirm, she will not have that amount of strength to do all such things with that amount of energy with which the children do. Okay, so the energy level of among children is beyond is uncomparable. Even we don't have that kind of energy. Okay, so next stanza. Yes, Shubhi.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
I'll sit close to the TV. Through the channels, I'll click. I'll cross both eyes just to see if they stick. I'll take my socks and throw one away and play in the mud and dirty when I'm an old lady and live with my kids.
Yes. So the next thing is coming to the TV. Okay, so what she'll do is that she will find a place which is closest to the TV set. Okay, she will stick to the TV set. Okay, and then what she'll do, she'll not watch one channel. She'll just go on clicking through different channels. Fine. Because you know the children, what the children, they do not, they are inquisitive. Okay, so nothing interests them for a long time. Fine, they will play with a toy, they'll get bored, they will move on to another toy. So the same thing, they'll watch one channel, they'll get bored, they want to switch the channel, they want to move to another channel. So they keep on clicking they keep on moving through different channels. So, and while sitting close to the TV, okay, no matter how much you ask children to get away from the TV set, the TV set has taken, mobile phones has taken the place of TV sets nowadays. So if you see children sitting with the mobile phones, they hold to their mobile phones really close to their eyes. Fine. So earlier TV used to be that thing. Okay, so they used to sit very close to the TV sets. Even if you ask them to get away, it will harm their eyes, they won't listen. Okay, they would just sit very close to the TV sets, clicking through the different channels. And what else, the second thing she'll do is she will get both her eyes in the middle, and she will see if both of them stick or not. Okay, cross both eyes means when you play, when you try to look at your nose by bringing both your eyes together. That is the thing. That is another playful activity which children do. Don't do it right now. So you people have started trying. So don't do that. Okay, so she will also do this thing. She will get cross both eyes means she will bring both the eyeballs, pupils, okay, close to the nose so as to see whether they stick or not to each other. So this is another thing she will do. Then she will take off her socks and throw away. She will throw one away, one somewhere else, and the other somewhere else. So that you people also do, I think. Very few of you must be putting your shoes and socks in place, in their correct place. So that is another thing which children do, that they never keep their things, keep their stuffs in their proper place. So the mothers have to be after their children to take, and the next day when they require those very things, they are after their mother asking where is that. Okay, suppose when you used to come to school in the offline days, you used to go back to your home, you used to throw your shoes and socks, and the next day in the morning you must be after your mother's asking for your shoes and socks. So that is the thing. So she also has experienced this thing. She has experienced her children doing this. So she will also she'll return this deed also. She will do this. She will take off her socks and throw it somewhere else, and just in order to annoy her children, and then play in the mud till the end of the day. So if she will get a chance to go out and play, so what she'll do, she will get into the mud and she will play till the end of the day. For the whole day she will play. Okay, getting the soil, getting her clothes soiled, and getting all dirty. She will do these things when she will be old, and she will be live with her kids. She will be living with her kids. Last stanza. Who will read? Okay, Sarthak, yes.
Yes, ma'am. And later in bed, I will lay back and shy. I will thank God in prayer and then close my eyes. My kids will look down with a smile slowly creeping and soft with a groan. She is so sweet when she is sleeping.
Okay, so the last stanza comes that after doing all such mischiefs throughout the day, what she will do, she will go to bed, she will lay back, and then she will take a deep sigh. Okay, take a deep breath of when you are tired, and when you lie on bed, then you take a deep breath. Okay, so that is what she will be doing. Like kids, they do all such mischiefs for the entire day, and then they go to the bed to get charged up for another day. Okay, because they have to repeat the same things yet again. So that is what she will be doing. She'll be going to bed because now she will be tired. By then she will be tired enough, and she will not have any more energy to continue with her mischiefs. So she will go back, she will lay on the bed, and then she will thank God. She will pray before going off to sleep. She will pray to God. She will thank for all the blessings which she would be having in her life. She might be thanking for her children who would be there taking care of her, like she used to do when her children were young. Okay, when her children were small, so she took care of them as a mother. So she would be very thankful to her children who would be taking care of her as she used to do. Fine. And then see her expectations. She's expecting that all such activities will be appreciated and will be liked by her children, because again she says that my kids will look down with a smile. So these are the things when what she used to do as a parent. Okay, she also used to watch her children going off to sleep, and she used to admire their innocent faces when they were asleep. So she expects her children also to do this, to behave in the same manner. And she says that when she'll sleep, so her kids will look down on her, will look down at her, and they will smile. Okay, and they will slowly creep out of the rooms. Why will they slowly creep out? Because they do not want her to wake up again and continue with all those mischiefs. Okay, they want her to sleep for some time, and then maybe for another day, to get ready for another day. So they will do all the activities very slowly. Okay, and they will go out go out creeping, and they will say with a groan, that means with a sad voice. Okay, that she's why sad over here? Because they are tired, because for the entire day they have been after their mother, taking care of her so that she does not get hurt. Okay, but while doing all such mischiefs. So that is why they are saying with a groan, where they are tired. Basically, they are not sad in the negative way, but they are tired. All right, so this thing should be clear. And what will they say? They'll say that she's so sweet when she's sleeping. That means they will admire her and they will like her when she will be asleep, because when she will be asleep, she will not bother them anymore. Fine, like the children when they sleep. So the mothers, that is the happiest moment for the mothers, because during that time they can do other stuffs. Fine, because that they know that while sleeping, their children are safe. Okay, because they will not go here and there, they will not crawl on the bed and fall off. So all such things, small things, the mothers have to worry about. So when they are asleep, that is the escape, because she knows that that is the time when her child is safe. Okay, the child will not move here and then and he will sleep soundly, so she can focus on other things, on other chores. All right, so that is the thing which you should understand. Yes, so one thing is there, that if you see all such activities, so it is not practically possible for her to do everything, to turn all her musings into reality. She might not be able to do everything which she has penned down in this poem, but in jest, she might do one or two things, just to make her point clear, to make her children understand the things. It is not necessary, or she will not necessarily be doing all such activities. She will not be playing in the mud, but obvious. Okay, but it's just that she has penned down so as to make this poem humorous, so as to make its tone humorous. Okay, but it is not going to be possible for her to do everything, because she will not have that energy. Okay, which she has herself admitted in the fourth stanza, that if she will run if she will be able to, because she knows that she will not be able to do everything. Okay, she will not be able to turn everything into reality, all she is thinking, all her musings into reality. That is not possible. But just to make her point clear, or just to make her children understand, she might do one or two things in jest, so that they get a practical experience of what their mother will be trying to make them understand. Okay, so I suppose all the doubts are clear by now. Thank you.